Hey everyone, welcome back to Eat What You Grow. This is episode 5, and today I'll be harvesting strawberries. Um, they've been nonstop for over a month now. It's fantastic. I'll be harvesting some strawberries and then popping into the kitchen to make a strawberry rhubarb crisp. I've also picked up some additional strawberries and some rhubarb at the market, um, and we're going to make a strawberry rhubarb crisp. So if you're into um, seasonal eating or just enjoying what you're harvesting in your garden, this one's for you. Okay, so we're harvesting strawberries, and what you want to look for is that they're red all the way around. Sometimes you'll see some, here's a perfect example, that have some red, but some white. That's not what you want. You want it to be red all the way around. It's going to give you the best flavor. And to harvest them, I'm not very delicate. I just yank it off. And maybe there's a better way, but that's always worked for me. So what I'm going to do, let me poke around and see if there's any, like this one, see there's still some white on it. So I'm going to leave that one there a little bit longer. I'm going to go around my raised bed here, harvest what I can, and then I will meet you back in the kitchen and we're going to make a strawberry rhubarb crisp. Hey everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to be preparing a strawberry rhubarb crisp. And I picked some strawberries from the garden, but I had also picked up some strawberries from the farmer's market, as well as some rhubarb. My rhubarb plant, I just planted it this year, so it wasn't ready. And then I think I'm just going to use the berries from the market, just because I know I need 4 cups of berries, and I know we ate the last of our own berries this morning with breakfast. So I think I'm gonna keep these for breakfast tomorrow, and I'll put these ones in the crisp. So that's what I'm going to do. And I follow the strawberry rhubarb crisp recipe from the Barefoot Contessa from Ina Garden. I have all of her cookbooks. She's awesome. And the only thing that I am substituting today, I forgot to buy an orange, so I'm going to use a lemon zest and lemon juice for the recipe. It should be fine. We're adding sugar to the recipe anyway to cut the tartness of the rhubarb. So let's get started. In terms of what we need, I'll be linking the recipe down below. Let's just get going. Have to preheat the oven to 350, so I'll do that now, and it'll be ready, 350, by the time everything is assembled and we can get it in there. So first step is preparing the fruit. We're essentially chopping the rhubarb into 1-inch pieces. Otherwise, it's going to get mushy. So we want to keep it at least hefty enough so that it won't get too small. And same thing with the berries. We're going to chop them up. These are quite large, so I'm probably going to cut them in 4, mainly because you want them to be chunky enough, because otherwise they're going to melt to mush. So let's get going. We chop up the rhubarb, and I don't know why I do this. I've always done it. I have my garbage bowl here handy. I always cut the ends off first, and then just give it a good give it a good chop. I'm probably not using the best knife for this, but we're going to go with it. And we're cutting all the fruit up, and it's all going in one big bowl. And we're going to add sugar to that later. And I need about 4 cups, so I think all of this will be about 4 cups. I mean, it's rough. It's a crisp, right? So you put all the fruit in, mix it up with the sugar and juice, mix it up with cornstarch. I'll get to that when we get to it. But it's not an exact science. If you have more or less of one fruit over the other, not a problem. And we like rhubarb, and I was excited to be able to plant our first rhubarb plant this year. Obviously, it hasn't produced because it's in the first year. I'm going to take the ends off this guy because it looks a little rough on the edges there. This one too. And I'm eager to be able to harvest our own rhubarb and to cook fresh with it, or make stuff with it, or just pop it in the freezer to use it over the winter. That's going to be awesome. But this year, it's a tiny little plant, so cannot do that. All right, strawberries. And this one, it's basically take the stems off and then just cut them into, you know, bite size, kind of like that. I think that would be fine. Little chunks. It's nice when there's chunks in your fruit crisp. Not that smaller chunks or smaller pieces or even mushy strawberries would be bad in this, to be honest. But I like chunks in my crisps. Leave that one like that. And I think I'm going to do all of these. And it's basically going in an 8 by 11 pan. I'm using a glass pan. I'm using this guy. So anything of this size. If you have a little bit more fruit, maybe up the size of your pan. But I love fresh berries, like the homegrown stuff, because you can just rip the the stem off and it comes right off. They're so good. And you can tell these are grown from a local farm near where we live, and you can tell that they're good because they're red all the way through. Some of the berries you buy at the supermarket that come from away, shall we say, they're white inside and like they don't taste as good, right? Obviously, anything grown locally, the closest to you is what's going to taste the best. And we typically don't like we try to eat with the seasons, right? Like whatever's grown here where we live, or at least within our country. I garden in Nova Scotia, Canada. So we try to eat seasonally. So what's growing now, that's obviously going to taste the best because it has the least amount of distance to travel to get to us. So, but the time between when it's harvested from the fields, from the trees, from the wherever, the shorter that is, by the time it gets to your table, the better it's going to taste. So we just develop the habit of just buying and eating what's in season. And like we don't buy berries in the winter. We just don't. Because they come from further away. Doesn't mean that they're not good and they're not nutritious. They don't taste like summer berries. And once you've had the summer berries when they're in season, nothing's going to compare. Like anything else is just not going to taste as good. There's a bunch of things that are like that. Anywho. But do what you can, eat what you like. I don't judge. But we just like to eat seasonally. All right. Fruit is done. Pop this stuff in my garbage bowl, or my composter bowl, I should say. This is done as well. Next thing, I need sugar. How much sugar do I need? I've got my recipe book right here. 1 1/4 cup granulated sugar. So in here, bring this closer. Get this out of the way so I don't knock anything over. In here, we're putting 1 1/4 cup white sugar. No, 3/4 cup, and the orange zest, or lemon zest in my case, because I do not have an orange. So 3/4 cup white sugar. We're going to put the rest of the sugar in with the crumble mixture for the top. So that's 3/4. So that's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and the zest of the lemon. I have lemons and limes, but I think for this one, since I don't have an orange, I think lemon would be the best substitute. And we're okay with lemon. I like lemon. All right, so the zest of this, putting it directly in. And once I stir all this together, you'll see that the fruit will interact with the sugar and it kind of gets all, doesn't melt. There's no heat involved, but it gets, I forget, I don't know what the word is, not macerated, but it loosens the juices of the fruit. So good. And I'm trying to grate it and avoid the pith underneath because that's a little bit bitter. I think we've got enough in there. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep the lemon. We're going to need the juice for later. I'm going to give this a stir. And it's just to get all the fruit coated. Don't mind, we have cats. You don't know. No. He's curious. Every time I'm in the kitchen, he wants to come and see what he can sneak. He likes treats. Okay, so that's done. Next step is, in a measuring cup, dissolve the cornstarch in the orange juice and then mix it in with the fruit. So cornstarch, I need 1 tablespoon and then the juice of the lemon. So 1 tablespoon, oven is ready. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And I'm going to put it in here because it's going to be easier to mix later. Let's have some room. I'm not going to need the grater anymore. And the juice of this. So let's slice this open, and I have my trusty, my favorite citrus tool, just to get it in there. I should have checked for pits. I don't see any. Anyway, I'll grab them later, if there are any. I don't know how many times I've made this recipe. Every spring, summer, once the rhubarb is available, I make this dish. It's so good. And it's easy. It's not like you don't have to create a pie dough, roll out your dough. Like it's a fruit base and a crumble on the top. It's so good. All right, so this is done. Don't need that anymore. I'm going to stir this. I want to get a spoon for this. Just mix up the cornstarch. And what this does is just going to thicken the not the sauce, but like thicken the juices that are going to keep the fruit together. All right, we're going to pour this in. Give it another stir. And then we're going to start on the dry ingredients, which is the crumble that goes on top of this. All right, that's done. I can put this in here. On this side. This goes in here. And this is the bulk of the crisp, right? It's the fruit. The fruit is the star. And you can probably substitute whatever fruits that you like, right? Whatever's in season, like if it's blueberries, if it's, whatever you've got going on, whether it's in your garden, in your local market, whatever looks good. Just substitute the fruits that go in the crisp. Keep the crumble, sorry, I'm making a racket. Keep the crumble the same. And then you'll have a multitude of, this bowl is for what? Oh, I think it was for the cornstarch, but I didn't need it. All right. So we've got the fruit base done. Next thing, we're going to start on the dry. So I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to clean up a bit here. So we're going to pause, and then I'm going to swap out my ingredients and bring everything here. Okay. I swapped my ingredients around. We're going to do the dry, which is 1 cup flour, 1 cup oats, half a cup white sugar, half a cup brown sugar, half a teaspoon salt, and the butter. So let's get going. And I tried, I try to use as few measuring things as possible. I know I need 1 cup flour, 1 cup oats, and half a cup sugar, half a cup brown sugar. So I have my half cup, and I'm just going to do 2 of these for who said fractions would never be of use. My nieces are going to laugh. They never like fractions. Like, when would I ever use this? I said, you'll use it in the kitchen. If ever you want to make something, you're going to use it in the kitchen. All right, so that's our 1 cup flour. We need half a cup white sugar, half a cup brown sugar, half a cup white, half a cup white. And this is basically for the crumble that we're going to put on top of it. And in the recipe, they suggest using a mixer, which I do not have. So I do everything by hand. I enjoy it. I like doing things by hand. I don't know why that is. Half a cup brown sugar. That's good enough. All right. 1 cup oats, and it's the quick cooking oats, not instant. It's the quick cooking. I'm going to get 1 cup of this, or 2 half cups, just so that we're not cleaning more than we need to. All right, so that's 1 cup of oats, half a teaspoon salt, just here. Half a teaspoon. Oh, I have a teaspoon, so I'll do half of this. Half a teaspoon. And I think that's all. Let me just double check. 1 cup flour, half a cup brown sugar, half a cup white, half a teaspoon salt, 1 cup oats. And then I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. I had a spoon. Where did I put it? Oh no, I put it over here. All right, we're good. So I'm going to mix this up just to blend them together. And then we're going to add the butter. And when we add the butter, it's essentially just to get it to crumb consistency. I'm just breaking up the little pieces of brown sugar here. All right. Am I going to have to mix this again? Maybe. So I'll leave this here. The knife I don't need anymore. Let's slice the butter. Now, butter has to be cold. I just took this out of the fridge a little while ago. I have my knife. That's why I need my knife. I'll leave my spoon here. And it's 12 tablespoons, but that's 1.5 sticks. Cold, unsalted butter, diced. So it's cold, but it has softened a little bit, but that's okay. So it's 1.5 sticks. So that's 1. I'm going to get the other half too before I start dicing it. And this is about half of this. Just plop this on there too. And this goes back in the fridge. Okay, now let's dice this, and then that's going to go in there, and we're going to mix everything together. Okay, and then just dice it. All right, and then in it goes. And then, now, the recipe calls for a mixer. I use mostly my hands once it gets crumbly enough, but in the beginning, I use, let me see if I can find that. I should have taken that tool out. Oh, perfect, it's right here. Now, some of you might not recognize what this is. To me, it's a dough cutter, like a but I'll use this just to get the butter in to start it. But then I use my hands. I took my ring off in preparation because I prefer using my hands because it gets it to the right consistency. But you just keep going until it gets to be that crumb, like crumbly. And I find that I can't use this the whole way. My knife, because it doesn't get it the right consistency that I want. And just clean up the little holes here. And you want to do this when it's okay. Now that I've started it, I'm going to just continue it with my hands. I just find it easier, and then I'll keep my spoon handy. I'm going to wash my hands just because I've been. Bear with me, guys. Okay. Yeah, I take my ring off when I do this part because it gets everywhere. So I just go in and I just start mixing it up with the dry. That's at the bottom of this bowl. And it's just enough so that it's all crumbly. And there's no dry anymore. Like it's all incorporated with the butter pieces. And then we're going to take this and just sprinkle it over the fruit and pop it in the oven. And that's essentially it. See, it's already starting to get mixed. But this is why I take off my ring. And I don't use two hands. I use one hand just so that it's a little less messy. But I think this is good. I'm just going to peek underneath. No, there's still some. I just want to grab all the dry, like all the powdery that's left underneath, because that I'm not going to sprinkle powder on top of my crisp. I want it to be all, incorporated with the butter. All right. Try to take the worst off. Okay. Next up, I'm not washing my hand because I'm going to use it to put the crumb on top of this. And then all you do is sprinkle it, take little handfuls, and sprinkle it on top. The goal is to cover all the fruit. So I'll do it in little pieces to start. Oops. With little handfuls to start, and then I'll do a first pass, and then I'll come back and do a second pass after. And then when we bake this in the oven, the recommendation is to put it on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, just to catch any drips that might happen. Like I do the cookie sheet, but I'll be honest, in all the times I've made this, I don't think it's ever bubbled over so much that it would warrant, the parchment and all of this business. But I do the cookie sheet just to protect if ever it would bubble up and dirty the oven, the inside of the oven. You can actually do this part on the cookie sheet to catch any little crumbs that might fall off. I've got a couple on the counter here, but that's not very long. And then just cover all the little fruits. You can see. And this will harden a little bit, like it'll crisp up in the oven. And it's so good. And it's so easy. Like this didn't take long. The longest thing was probably maybe chopping the fruit, I guess. Now this is mostly powder, so I'm not going to use a little bit, but not a lot. Just enough to cover all the fruit. Okay, now, next thing, we're putting this in the oven for how long? An hour. And the topping will become golden brown. The fruit is going to be bubbly. but that's it. So pause here. I'll get this in the oven. I'll wash my hands. We'll get this in the oven, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, my timer just went off. The crisp is ready. We're going to take it out of the oven. Whew. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. You know what? I'm going to bring it here. It's bubbling. Close this. Turn this off. Oh. Now, I want to try it, but it looks really hot. I'll give it a minute. I'll give it a minute to settle down. I'll take a little piece. Oh my goodness! So the crumble is golden and it's solid, and it's like it's still bubbling, and it smells really good. I'm just gonna take a little. I'm supposed to let it stand for a bit, but I want to taste it so bad. Okay, I'm gonna take a bit. I'll just take a little bit. Oh my goodness. Just a bit. Oh, the strawberry smells so good. Let me leave this on the side here. All right. It's hot. Let me try just a bit. That said, I kind of know what this is going to taste like because I've made it so many times. Bear with me. It's good. And the substitution the recipe called for orange zest and orange juice, and I used lemon. It's fine. You don't even taste the difference. Although I would think that I've always liked the orange zest in it because you can taste it. But I don't taste the lemon zest like I used to taste the orange zest. They're both fine. They both taste good. And the substitution was fine because I didn't have an orange on hand, which is all good. All right, I better let this cool. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed watching that. I really hope you give this a try. Even if you're not growing the ingredients, strawberries and rhubarb, they're such a classic combination. You can likely find them at the farmer's market, at your supermarket when they're in season. And it's such a simple thing. It's such a simple dessert. I don't want to say that it's healthy because like the fruit's healthy. any dessert with fruit in it is healthy, right? I'm going to leave that with you. Yeah, I'm going to leave that in your hands. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. If you haven't yet, feel free to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Happy gardening, everybody.